Hello everybody, Avian here. You can see this game is going to be a full commentary as by the title, which is going to talk you through a full game as Lulu. It's the first live commentary I've done, beg your pardon, so if it's helped, please let me know in the comments below. If there's anything that I can change in the future to help you, that would be an awesome thing to leave a comment for as well. So, first of all, I will not talk about the items, runes and masteries. There is different videos for those. Just go and check out my channel and find those if you're interested. Otherwise, this game I'm going to explain in every commentary I do the early game, the mid game and the late game thoughts in that particular game against that matchup with this support, which is this Lulu, this game, and I'm going to explain to you some general tips to be a better player. Just before I get into it, I am not the best support player on the planet, nor am I fully correct in everything I say, but I have a pretty good understanding of it, so don't judge me if I get anything wrong. Perhaps leave a comment, give me a tip on how to improve. That would help a lot more. I will try and advise you all on what I'm doing. So the first bit of advice I'm going to give you is always have a plan for the first 6 or 7 levels in lane. So before you hit level 7, how do you want your lane to look? Now you will get better at making this decision over time when you look at the laning matchups, you look at the jungler, but my general advice is, again, check who you're against, check who you're with, and check the junglers. Check the mid lanes as well. Fizz can roam pretty well, Taric and Vayne have a pretty good laning phase actually. If Taric can hit a stun and Vayne can follow up with a condemn, you can be in a lot of trouble. So the early part of this game I want to play aggressive, I want to gain an early lead against Vayne, and I'm taking Lulu to do that aggressively. So just be as safe as you can and poking smartly. So Vayne's tumbles on cooldown, so I know that I can follow up with a bit of aggression. I'm going to put that pink down straight away to keep the pressure so I can fire out my auto attacks and run back into this bush. So Udyr clears his jungle in about 2 minutes 40-ish, so you want to have a ward down here as soon as possible. And just as Lulu, I really play extremely aggressive. I mean, maybe sometimes too aggressive, but as long as I know that I'm not overextending and I'm safe from the jungler, I'll try and do my best to go all in and poke. So you see Taric's taking W now, so he's gonna Q, beg your pardon, is the second spell, so heal and stun. So she can't run up to you and he can't run up to you and shadow you yet, which is fantastic for us. Keep going aggressively, put that pix on Vayne there. And I don't really smart cast my Q, I hold shift down to cast, but I really kind of try and aim with a Q. Unless I'm in a team fight and it's a bit pressure. It's just not going to go well for us. So here I'm trying to slow Udyr as much as I can and keep the team off him, but Vayne's used his flash aggressively and they've got a really big lead at bot now. So what we have to think about doing is, our plan's not going to plan, Vayne's going to come back with a double buff. So when your lane doesn't go to plan, try and adjust your plan. Do you want to fight? Do you want to keep playing aggressively? Do you want to try and zone him? And you know, you have to make these decisions based on what you think you can achieve. Personally, I don't think that we're going to be able to do as much aggression against the double buff Vayne, but once it bears off, it might be okay. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. So just taking as little last hits as possible, and then I'm going to go base just so I can have an item to keep up with Vayne and try and stop him before he snowballs into late game. So as I said before, there's an item build guide on my channel. There's a full Lulu guide which will be redone in the future. But generally speaking, I tend to go for a couple of gold per 10 items depending on how the lane's going. So you can see I got a feeler stone quite early that'll keep me in the game. And a couple of wards. Taric's got the pressure in the lane with a pink ward, so that's going to be really tough for us now. So my new plan is to think, okay, what can I do against this Vayne and Taric? Well, let's just try and poke them when they poke us back, but no extended trades, and disengage if we can. So it'd be better to have a warden here to do that, but if you can't, try and keep yourself in the bush as much as possible, in a safe place. Take the XP from max range. Get a feel for the range. I don't know exactly what it is. And try and play as safe as you can. So there, a little bit caught, but it's not too much of a problem. Able to shield myself before I get condemned. Just sit back and try and just grab those CS. Now, so you see the creeps are being pushed to the tower. The next important thing to do is, okay, I need to help my AD last hit. Ranged minions take 1 auto attack, 1 tower hit, and 1 auto attack. Melee minions take 2 auto attacks, 2 tower hits, beg your pardon, and 1 auto attack. So your tower hits the minions. You had to help your AD last hit the minions under the tower, and you have to kind of get a feel for how much HP is needed before the tower kills it off. If your minions are hitting, it can be good practice to get good at it. If you can get your AD an extra 7 or 8 CS in a single game, that's really good. So here we're just trying to get to that level 6 without dying again. When we get there, we'll see what we can do with the Vayne. He has lost his double buff now, which makes it a little bit better for us, but still not brilliant. He's got that extra sustain with the extra Dorans, which is frustrating for us, but you can see now I'm even tempted to pink ward this. Green ward this bush, because if he wants to kill it, he's got to start contesting it, which if MF was with me, she would have done some auto attacks there, but she didn't. Don't ward it again. Vayne has to go base now, else he'd be stupid not to. Speeding her up there. Taric disengages with a stun. I'm just going to ward this, and again try and stay on this side so you can see. Well, the jungle is now top, so. But I would stand there just to make sure that the jungler wasn't coming. Vayne's gone base, so now I want to push this out so we can go B. So help your AD take care of the minions and back out. Just signal to him that I'm going base as well. So next item. You want to get a couple of wards. Gonna go for 2 fairy charms so I can get that chalice. I like to build chalice on Lulu as early as possible. Helps me be really aggressive, helps me stay in lane. And I mean, I was supposedly go for maybe Carter's lucky pick or Sightstone as well, but I kind of just buy what I can based on the gold that I've got before I go base. So this will allow me to put out a few more shields, cast more Qs to be aggressive, and generally stay in lane. Now you see that I'm maxing Q first. As I say, I've described that I do that in the guide because it lets me be more aggressive, and the slow from it is awesome, the extra damage is awesome. If you're losing your lane really hard, you can always max E first for the extra shield. Personally though, I think Q's the better option, so I usually always max that first. So it's important when fighting Vayne now not to poke him when he's just going to be able to hit you back as hard. So just hit like 3 hits and do it, because he has a lot of sustain. It's not going to be worth spending too much mana on nothing really. So there I'm just putting my W on Vayne to stop him from, if he dives this, it'd be silly to do so. I didn't want to take that kill, but never mind. So I should have probably have ulted MF there, but what I did was ult myself so I can knock him up. Oh, so push that out really quickly. Lane will be around the middle, and I'm going to go base. And I'm actually going to buy my Carter's lucky pick now because we're doing pretty well for time. If by about 15 minutes you can't get both of your items, you want to be not building any more gold per 10. So by 15 minutes, if you can have your gold per 10 items, if you haven't got any by then, don't bother buying them. It's generally not that useful. So let's get those now whilst we're doing. Alright, I took that kill so I can afford it. Probably would have been better to have a pink ward in the lane, but it's going to be there. It'll keep us safe from behind, from the earlier dives. But if Taric pinks this, we will have a lot of pressure on us. See, Lee's coming in to gank. Can't do much to follow up in terms of securing a kill. But I don't want him to die. I might have to flash this. I'm trying to stay away from the walls so I don't get condemned. Now they have a lot of pressure. Udyr could probably do dragon by himself. You see, they ward. If they have a ward, try and time it. Oh, sorry. So you remember before I said to have a plan early game, and if you follow a plan based on your experience, you'll tend to find that you usually win your lane more often. So here I don't really have any particular oh, she took a kill there. So I'm gonna run up to Vayne now. Oh, I didn't mean to take it with my Q, but I did. So I was gonna run onto him and flash him and knock him up to let MF get the kill there. So here we've actually turned our lane around a little bit, and we are going to push it out and go base. So as I was saying, you build a plan and on experience, and if you win your lane, that's fantastic. If you don't, just more experience, but be ready to always adjust your plan based on what's happening. So for example, this game we couldn't put out the early aggression and win, so we had to play a bit more passively, a bit more carefully, and we've actually been able to turn the lane round, and now we can maybe think about playing aggressively again. I think to have a general understanding is better to have none at all. That's most important, because if you go into a lane having no idea what you're going to do, it can be really difficult sometimes to physically overcome and win the lane. Another great tip would be to, always set yourself goals, and I think you'll probably find that you improve as a player a lot if you keep setting yourself goals every game. I mean, if you're playing AD carry, you might say to yourself, hey, I want 100 CS by 13 minutes this game, but you might not get that if you get ganked. So you have to adjust, but set goals that are realistic and constantly set them throughout the game, especially in the early laning game. In the early game, beg your pardon, in the laning phase. This can help you keep up to the enemy as much as possible if you're losing, or stay above them if you're winning. So you're always thinking, and you're not just sort of playing the game without thinking what you're doing. So my goals now are to keep getting XP now that we're approaching mid game, so I don't fall behind on XP. Try and not let my AD carry die. Stay with him as much as possible. Avoid losing the dragon. That's a very good sort of goal for supports, and you have to do that by keeping good wards. And I mean, right now we haven't got the best wards for it, but it's not too much of a problem. It's gonna hurt. I just W'd Vayne there so he couldn't get his Quicksilver bolts off on me, which would have hurt a lot. You see, if those who don't know, if this is green, it means the ultimate's up. So MF has ult now, so they can't really push the tower. You see that Riven's coming down to gank. Gonna speed MF up. Try and slow Vayne. Exhaust him now. I'm actually gonna knock myself up now. And there we've got shielding my ally, so I can then follow up with the Q on him if Taric were to flash away. So who's to ultimate? Well, I don't know if I ever covered that in the guide, but I think sometimes I think about ultimating whoever can do the most. So I've ultimated myself twice in the laning phase. The first time would have probably been better on MF The second time was on me to try and keep Vayne in MF's ultimate. He was out of it anyway with the stealth, so maybe MF would have been better, but it didn't make a difference. I was able to knock both of them up and secure a kill. So you can think about using your ultimate aggressively to knock the enemy up. You can think about using it defensively to save your ally, or even just as a general heal if you really want to. But I rarely recommend you use it for that purpose. And as I said before, I'm aiming my Q. I hold Q down to smart cast, like if I want to, like so. But I mean, I seldom use one or the other. I use both. I just find that it's the way I've always played. I don't smart cast everything, and if it requires a bit of aiming, like maybe that makes me a bad player, maybe it doesn't. I mean, that's for you guys to decide. I find it works for me, and that's what matters. I do actually want to go base. I can buy my chalice, which is, I mean, great, but we have the dragon, so it's not too much of a big deal. I'm just going to stay and stop the minions coming to the tower, but be very safe. That's really important. So as I said, 2 tower hits, 1 auto hit. For the ranged ones, it's 1 auto hit, 1 tower hit, and 1 auto hit again. It's just a way to kind of secure more CS. Gonna run and get rid of this ward, and in the meantime time dragon. So those who don't know, dragon time is 6 minutes. So whenever it dies, if you go to more options, you make sure you have timestamps enabled, which is let me see, show timestamps. It'll come up in the chat when the dragon died, and just add 6 onto that number. Add 5 on for blue and red buffs, and add 7 on for Baron as well. And again, these might be really general tips that all of you know already, and it's not to patronize you, it's just sometimes you don't know how much somebody knows, so it's better to cover every little thing and make sure you've not missed stuff. As I say though, if you have any questions, do leave a comment. As I say, it's just me talking and trying to describe everything that I'm doing. So I'm going to talk about positioning for a few minutes now. In any part of the game, early game, whenever, you want to be with your AD carry as much as possible. If you can zone, then you want to be in front of your AD carry, or maybe even have him with you. But generally, try and stay with him as much as you can on the same point of the map. In team fights, try and stay behind him to be able to protect him. That kind of thing, you know. I'm using my flash aggressively again here, and stealing the kill, not wanting to do that. Just wanted to get vision on him. It's not a huge problem, but it's again, it's better to save the kills for the AD. I mean, like, meh, I can't say much. It's bad play to steal a kill. So I have a lot of gold, and it's up to me what to buy now. See that we have no one particularly fed. I always look at what people are like. So MF doesn't have anything really magic resistance based, so maybe Aegis would be a good idea. Does anyone on our team have it? No. So we could get it, but we need boots. I decide this game I'm going to go for a bit of MR on myself. I'm going to buy the Mickles shortly to be able to save MF from the big fish, and a couple of pink wards for the next dragon. Perhaps I could have built a lot of different things there. I could have built my Sightstone first. I could have gone an Aegis first. I can't tell you what the best items to buy in the best order are. I just think that from experience, I'd rather have these items. Having the Mickles Crucible to cleanse and heal my AD against a Taric Vayne who could potentially condemn him. Fizz, who does a lot of damage early. I think it will potentially save his life, and we'll soon find out when the game unfolds whether or not it does do that. So you see, I cue the wave there just to clear out the minions, kill them a little bit. Oh, no, unlucky. Slowing them with the Q. You notice that I am actually smart casting there? Well, I wouldn't dive them. I wouldn't dive, but they don't dive. If they did dive, I honestly think we'd been able to do something. I'm just going to ward our backside there. Hitting that Q, able to get a free turret hit on Vayne as well. So what I'm trying to do, rather than telling you, try to explain what I'm doing. I want to sit back, keep the lane safe from wards. You know, we have pressure on us now, despite the fact we're a little bit stronger, I feel. Sitting back and trying to stop them from getting the tower by I'm gonna try and stop as much. So basically, keep the wards, they can't dive us. Keep the Mickles for MF. Keep the ult for MF, and it allows them to it allows her to be able to survive. The enemy are knocked up under the tower. They're diving you, taking free hits. It was a bad idea for them to dive us. If you have any questions about that fight, leave a comment about anything that you wish me to explain about positioning or anything, and I will make sure that I try my best to reply to you. I'm pretty good at replying within a couple of days, and the same goes for any fights throughout the game. Now, Dragon gives you a debuff which slows your attack speed. You can see here on the screen. So it's best if you're AD and you are killing it for you to tank it, so they don't have the attack speed debuff and therefore can do more damage. They are the AD carry after all. Here I'm quite low. Stay at the back. Now when you're low, staying at the back is probably the best thing you can do most of the time. I mean, you might not even be able to get assists sometimes because you're staying back. I think it just comes down to practice. Just going to stay near, out of the vision, but on my AD now if I can. It's 5 seconds till I can do anything realistic now. Oh no, I'm gonna die. I think I'll die. No, I'm just alive. Try and get Lee out of here, maybe. So that's using your Q, putting your E on the enemy, and remember it stays on for 6 seconds and then following up with your Q. And remember it was 5 seconds till the cooldown came off. So that's all you need to think about, is just the cooldowns there. I mean, that is something that I've really picked up as playing Lulu for a long time. But if you just remember that your E stays on for 6 seconds and you can use your Q as a follow-up to that. So there was a good example of just thinking, okay, it's got 5 seconds, I'll wait. And I get a free blue buff out of that and a lot of gold. So right now I'm in a really strong position as support. 23 minutes to have 2 dragons on our team. The turret bot lane, 4 kills, which I regrettably taken a couple of them. So just quickly going to go for an Aegis this time. It gives the team all a bit of extra MR, which is very important. Recommended, it'll be much faster. Sorry about all the shop time, guys. A bit more MR for my team, because as I say, Fizz is very strong early and mid game. He gets a lot of kills. It's just the way he works, especially if he got a couple of kills early. So this'll help be a bit more enduring against that. Oh, is he gonna get away? Possibly. Unlucky. So very mobile AP carry Fizz. And I'm not too worried about him late game because his burst can be like sort of I can out heal it, so to say, with my ultimate and my Mickles. So his burst can be, once he's used his first burst, he can be killed after that. Remember, it's 5 seconds on the E, as I said before. If I'd have hit my Q there, we'd have got a kill. But there I tried to Q the minion to Q Vayne. It just didn't work. What I tried to do there, let me explain the fight after. I wanted to drop the pink ward, but I misclicked as I put my wards usually on 4, but Mickles is on there now. So I couldn't see him, which meant he was able to get a couple more auto attacks off, meaning that I got lower. I actually used Mickle's Crucible on myself rather than Misfortune, which meant that Fizz killed MF as of that point, and then it was 1v1. He's a lot stronger than me, obviously. And we overextended as a team, which is pretty bad. So, as I say, you make a plan. It's important just to keep sticking to that plan and adjusting. Regrettably, this game I didn't do that. As you see, we're ahead, and I'm starting to just run at the enemy and play aggressively because I am very strong, but that's not the point. So now I've finished my bulwark, just because we need this resistance versus Fizz as soon as possible, and I can get it first out of my team. I'm waiting on the gold for a pink ward. I mean, I waited quite long, but dragon spawning soon. Nobody else on the team has one. You know, for 15 seconds just to wait, I think it's worth it. If you disagree, again, it's something to leave a comment on. You do lose a lot of XP when you wait around for stuff, but I'm quite far ahead, so I'm going to make a little sacrifice there to get the Drake. So 3 objectives. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the 3 objectives I'm going to make now is to keep up building the momentum on the XP gain. Keep the wards down in their jungle because we're playing aggressively. We're pushing tier 2 towers now. And to not let my AD carry die in team fights. On top of that, I want to secure objectives, but I think that's a general team one. For personal objectives, get my team in position, stuff like that. If you guys would have any other objectives, do let me know. Oh! Now, I played her really badly there. Really badly. I didn't ultimate my AD carry. By mistake, it wasn't on purpose. I was meant to ult him, but it's not going to pay off because I have it for other people in the fight, but so yeah, I mean, I should have ulted MF. It would have been a lot different of a fight, but I just literally didn't do it by pure not being ready, not being fast enough, and things like that. Just general bad play. And that's why I say at the start, I'm not the best support player, but I have a pretty good understanding of what I think you should do. So there we've just took tier 2 turret, we dived them for the fight, dragons back up, and I'm reminding my team constantly, spamming that timer, getting the wards down, trying to get them in position. Remember I said before it has an attack speed debuff. If you want a ward over here, just put the cursor just there on the sign. We want to back out of that as a team. Oh no. Now I know my AD is going to die, so my next important thing is to get me out of there. I could be there with them. I want to try and get a ward in, but I don't want to be overextending and dying myself. So there I use my heal on myself to knock up Lulu under the tower, just to make her get some more damage. Really, I mean, I don't know if it's better to save it for, you know, when an obvious fight was about to start, but we'll see. You know, as a very low, very out of mana, so I'm staying at the back, trying to save my team as much as possible now, with stop them from diving us, using that slow. And so hitting your Q is really important because it's a huge slow. I mean, if you look at that, 80%. I know it decays, but just to have that instant effect can be pretty devastating. Now here we're running into a dragon that we're not going to get, which is very silly. It's too late to ping my team out of making mistakes. So the most important thing is to stay at the back. So although we lost dragon there, we have a timer on it. As I say, time stuff. Make sure you can keep your team in there. And you can see I've made a few mistakes in the last few minutes, and that comes down to just, again, experience and stuff. But I hope that it's explaining things about my positioning and things is helping people who have a less understanding as I do kind of pick up on tips. That's probably, if you're still watching, you want to be a better Lulu player, and I hope that I'm helping you. So you know that I said before, the timers of things is important. Baron timer is actually 7 minutes, so make sure you time that. If you want to copy and paste in game, what I do is I hold Shift and Home after I've typed a message, press Control and X to cut it, and then when I'm ready to put the timer into the chat, I press Control V and enter, and I can do that as many times as I like. And it's a really useful way of just keeping the ongoing timers. So now I want to have better cooldowns, but I've also realized that mana is a big issue in fights. So I'm going to rush that chalice, think about the objectives. Do you need an oracles? We've just done dragon, we've just done baron. I would hope a majority of you would say, hey Ave, we don't need an oracles now, unless you want to be rushing around their jungle trying to catch them and things, which you know is a good thing to do. But I'm going to save the money so I can get my boots a little bit faster if I have to back before I get enough gold for it. So it's a general item build. You see, oh, I've failed massively. I already had chalice. There you go, guys. The biggest noob mistake on the planet. Make sure you don't buy items twice. Oh gee, I feel like a little silver learner. Anyway, so in the fight, I'm staying with my AD. He's she MF is one of the biggest damage dealers on the team. Come late. I want to save my ultimate for when Fizz tries to burst him, or maybe when Lee goes in. It's going to be about deciding, can I knock 4 or 5 people up with a good Leo Morgana engage, or can I save my AD carry? Maybe I just need to use Mikkel's Crucible to save MF on Fizz. It all depends on whether or not Fizz lands the ultimate on MF, I believe. So if Fizz lands his ultimate on MF, I have to ult her. If not, then I use my R aggressively. And so you see it's not on MF there. Use my stay on your AD, exhausting Elise there, using Mikkels. So exhaust the bruiser on the AD, use your Mikkels to heal, cleanse, whatever you can do, and I use my ult offensively. If you have any questions about that fight, again, let me know. They do happen very quickly, and with it being a live commentary, it can be difficult to call them off. So here you see quite a close game. I hope some of the tips have helped. Be sure to leave a comment, please, about questions or tips that I can make better videos for you with your advice, and lots more. And there'll be plenty more of these videos coming, so